My family's made a lot of sacrifices for me, and if I was able to put on that national team jersey one day, it would mean a lot for both me and my family.
Welcome to episode 284 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. We're really hitting the stride of the summer with all kinds of baseball action going on, so let's get right to the highlights of the last week. We'll start in Major League Baseball, where Calgary's Michael Soroka found himself pulling some long relief last Friday night. With the White Sox already down 6-1 in the fourth to Arizona, he came in and limited the damage. He allowed just one run on one hit with one walk and 4 strikeouts in 3 2/3. That lowered his season ERA to 5.85. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come. Edmonton's Rob Zastryzny continues to plug away in the bullpen from Milwaukee's AAA affiliate, the Nashville Sounds. He's 4-0 with a 3.33 ERA in 26 appearances this season, including a flawless inning and a third against Tristan Peters and the Durham Bulls Tuesday night. It was the night where Peters, the Dogs Academy alum, went 1 for 3 with 2 RBI.
Couple looks at Simon. And a little looper in his center field. Is going to fall for a hit. Simon's being sent around third. He's going to score standing up. A 2-out base hit by Simon. A stolen base. And a bloop single now by Peters in his center field. And the Bulls have drawn level with Nashville 2-2 in the 7th.
The Bulls would win 6-4. Peters is now hitting .244 with 6 homers and 29 RBI on the campaign. It's been an up-and-down season for Vauxhall Academy grad Damiano Palmigiani. He went on the injured list in mid-May, leading to a rehab stint in Dunedin to start June, where he had a 3-for-5 night with a home run just over a week ago. Palmigiani is back in AAA with Buffalo Bisons and is hitting .230 on the season with 9 homers and 27 RBI in 53 games. A guy we haven't mentioned a lot of this year is former Okotoks Dogs outfielder Jacob Melton. Viewed as one of the top prospects in the Houston Astros organization, he's hitting .261 with 5 homers, 24 RBI, and 10 stolen bases in 35 games for their AA affiliate, the Corpus Christi Hooks. He's also been flashing the leather on a regular basis.
And the pitch, and Johnson swings, lifts one to shallow center field. Could be trouble coming in. Diving, Jacob Melton. Melton makes the catch. Full extension, headlong, and he crashes into the turf with out number 1.
Speaking of former Dogs, a shout out to former hurler Shea Shanneman, who's with Atlanta's high A team, the Rome Braves. He's 4-4 with 5.15 ERA and 2 saves and 22 relief appearances, striking out 35 and 29-plus innings of work. And finally, how about this run of starts from Lethbridge's Landon Barassa? After a pair of complete game gems, he took a perfect game into the 7th on Tuesday night against the Gary South Shore Railcats. However, his Winnipeg Goldeyes couldn't muster any offense and they'd fall 1-0. Barassa went 8 innings, allowing just 2 hits while striking out 4. He's now 2-3 on the season in 7 starts with a 2.73 earned run average. A big congratulations to Innisfail's Nathan Flewelling on being named one of a handful of Canadians to be taking part in the MLB Draft Combine. The St. Joseph Academy product and Sylvan Lake Gulls catcher has been turning heads for a while now with his strength and 5 tools. Make sure to keep checking in on our website as a new feature on Flewelling is in the works. Congratulations to a pair of Albertans on being named to the Softball Canada Women's National Team. Carbon's Kristen Boyd and Calgary's Morgan Rackle have made the cut, as has friend of the show and self-proclaimed Prairie Girl Zoe Hicks. Speaking of the ladies, that's where we're going to begin with our guests this week. Baseball Canada has unveiled its women's national team selection camp roster, with the players heading to Ottawa in early July for a chance to earn spots for the Women's Baseball World Cup roster. 6 Albertans made the cut, including Ava Greiner, Cassie Matlock, Julianna Scott, Caitlin Ross, Madison Willen, and Tyra Stanich, as well as the aforementioned Hicks. We've chatted with a few of them in the past, but one we haven't yet is Scott. The 5'6" catcher from Spruce Grove has been part of the provincial program for a while now and has won a few awards along the way. So it's no surprise she's getting a chance to show what she can do in front of the national team's coaching staff. We had the chance to chat with Scott earlier this week.
Julianna, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
First off, congratulations on being named to Canada's women's national team selection camp roster. That's fantastic news. What went through your mind when you got that call or that email saying that you had made the list?
Yeah, it was really exciting. I kind of saw the list come out on Instagram, and I was looking for my friends on it, seeing what teammates had made it. And I got down to the bottom of the column and was like, wait a minute, like, that's my name. I'm on the list. So my dad was actually in a meeting, so I ran in front of him and threw up my arms, and he's like, what is happening? But yeah, it was really exciting, really unexpected, but I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I assume this is something you've wanted to be able to do for a while, is represent the Maple Leaf.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of always been a dream. You start playing baseball and you kind of work towards it. And so I didn't make the 42-man roster originally, but seeing my name on this roster is really special.
I was going to mention that. Was there... Talk about how you managed to get yourself onto that list, because I remember that initial list and then all of a sudden seeing your name on this one. What transpired in that time in your eyes that allowed you to get onto the radar?
I'm not really sure. I kind of went into the season just looking forward to playing all-female baseball and having a good year, so I'm not quite sure how my name ended up on that list, but I'm looking forward to it regardless.
Absolutely. And I mean, camp's in Ottawa in a couple of weeks here. What's your mindset heading in?
Just to kind of soak it all in, enjoy the moment. It's not something you get to do every day or every year, and I'm young, but I'm looking forward to just kind of being around some of the older athletes and some of the top players in the country.
How much of it is also being a sponge and learning as much as you can, not just from your coaches and that kind of thing, but obviously a lot of teammates who've been around for a while now?
Oh, absolutely. It's all about being a sponge. I think one of the best things you can do as an athlete is learn from those around you, whether it's watching the game, talking to them. Everybody has different experiences, and I think being able to kind of share your experiences is just one of the best ways to become a better person and athlete.
I'm curious, in the lead up to camp, are you leaning much on the veterans that you do know? I'm thinking of Madison, I'm thinking Caitlin, who've been teammates of yours in the past, to maybe give you a bit of foresight into what to expect when you head down to Ottawa?
I think a little bit. I think we're going to go down there and all battle for a spot, but I think definitely they bring some experience, and if I ever needed anything or just wanted someone to talk to, I definitely think I could go to them and they'd be willing to help in any way possible.
Mm-hmm. What would it mean to you to be able to represent Canada on the national team?
Oh, it would mean everything. My family's made a lot of sacrifices for me, and if I was able to put on that national team jersey one day, it would mean a lot for both me and my family. So, yeah.
You're getting a chance to play some high-level ball right now in Quebec as part of the League Canada with the Braves. How did that opportunity all come about?
Yeah, we were kind of looking into it after last summer, and we reached out to Patricia, one of the League Canada-esque people, and kind of sent her an email and was like, hey, how can we make this happen? And we sent some video footage down there and had an interview, and she said, yeah, come on down. So it's been a really special experience, and I'm grateful for it.
Did you have any goals or expectations of yourself heading into that opportunity?
Not really. I think you kind of just want to be you, and, I think there's a standard you set for where you want to play, but you don't really want to put too much pressure on yourself. You just kind of want to go down, enjoy the moment, and have fun.
So walk us through what a day in the life is like for you right now as you try some new kind of baseball in another part of the country.
Yeah, I spend most of my mornings, I either work or I go to the facility. We have access to one of our facilities down here all day long, so I can go hit, catch, lift, do kind of whatever I need to do there. In the afternoon, I kind of just hang out at home, enjoy some time. But at night, we go travel different places in Quebec and play some baseball with one another. So, yeah.
I was going to ask about the traveling part of it, because as mentioned, you get to go and be a bit of a tourist while you're there as well. Do you have any favorite spots or favorite places you've been so far?
I went to Quebec City a couple weeks ago. They had an all-turf field there, so that was a really nice spot. I haven't played in Montreal yet. I missed that weekend, but I'm looking forward to being able to play down there at some point too.
Absolutely. Let's get into your baseball past here a little bit, Julianna. And you're a product of Spruce Grove, if I'm correct there. How did you get into the game in the first place?
My brother was a pitcher, so my brother's 3 years older, and he kind of was involved in the game from a young age, and I kind of just wanted to follow him. He's been a big role model within the game and always was looking for someone to catch him, so it's kind of how I fell into catching as well.
Very cool. Were you a multi-sport athlete growing up, or are you still all baseball all the time?
I played a little bit of other sports growing up, whether it was hockey or soccer, but baseball's been mainly the sport that I've done throughout my childhood.
Aside from the brotherly connection, what was it that really drew you to the game?
Being a catcher, there's you're kind of involved in everything, and I liked that aspect of it, whether it's the mental challenges of calling a game or even the physical challenges of making some blocks, throwing some runners out. So I kind of enjoyed how you got both sides of the mental and the physical game.
You have any favorite players or teams?
I love watching Adley Rutschman catch. Switch hitter, hits from both sides. I think he's really fun to watch. I'm a Jays fan, though, so I watch a lot of the Toronto games, Canada's team.
It's got to be kind of the weird push-pull, right? Like the Orioles are in the same division, so you're cheering for one player, but you're cheering for the other team, right? It's an interesting contradiction, so that is cool.
It's definitely an interesting when they play one another.
For sure. Do you remember when it turned for you, when it went from, hey, this is a fun game that I enjoy, to, hey, maybe I can do something special with this?
I'm not really sure there was a turning point. I moved up to Spruce Grove when I was 14 to, I think, actually, like, really get involved in the game. But I think just throughout my life, it's just always been a thing that I enjoy in a place where I can just be me. So I'm not sure anything's really changed. I've had the goal of playing Team Canada since I was really young. So the enjoyment of the game is probably what keeps me going.
Very cool. You've repped Alberta at a few different tournaments. You've done some cool things, won some awards in the sport. Any favorite memories or moments on the field where you just had to take that step back and go, I can't believe I get to do this?
Oh, there's been so many of them. Every time you get to put on the Alberta jersey, you kind of just take a moment, step back, step on the field for the first time in it, and you're like, wow, like, I can't believe I'm here. Yeah, I don't think there's one moment that stands out to me. I mean, winning the bronze medal in Halifax last year was a big moment for sure. I think our team really came together and showed what we were made of. But at 16 UMP, I won catch of the tournament, so that was another big kind of milestone for me and something I've been dreaming of, and it finally happened. So probably one of those two.
Couple of side notes on that. One is I've talked to a few of your teammates from that team last year, and one of the things that I keep coming back to is the growth of the women's game in this province seems to be coming in waves, right? Like the 14U team wins gold, the 16U team wins bronze, the open team wins bronze. From your perspective as someone who's in the thick of it, what are you seeing? What kinds of things excite you about the game here in this province?
I see a lot of passion and a lot of desire to be on the field. I've grown up around a couple players on the women's open team, and just being able to play with one another and being able to kind of grow within the sport has been really exciting.
On the national stage this past weekend, the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame inducted its class of 2024, and one of the people on that in that class was Ashley Stevenson, a fan favorite, a friend of the show, and obviously one of those people who's really served as being an inspiration for everyone in this country. What comes to mind when you see someone like that getting into the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame?
It's amazing. It's great for female sports. It's great for her. I think she's really played a huge role in helping female baseball develop, and she continues to do that every day. So congratulations to her.
Absolutely. On the flip side of all this, we always talk about baseball being a game of failure. And so I'm curious, from your standpoint, what's been maybe the biggest challenge or hurdle that you've had to overcome over your young career?
I think it was playing with males up through U18. Playing with males is a different game, so I think having to kind of fit in and just be a part of that is something that's been a huge challenge.
Mm-hmm. A few fun ones for you before we let you go here. First off, when you're a fan at the ballpark, what's your go-to food at the concessions?
Hot dog.
What kind of condiments?
Just ketchup.
Just ketchup, eh? It's amazing to me how many people don't want to slather on like onions and pickles and all kinds of crazy stuff. But there's a lot of just ketchups or just mustards out there, so that's cool.
Yeah, I like my hot dog pretty typical.
All right. What's your walk-up tune of choice if you had one?
One of my best friends, Sadie Jesperson, picked my walk-up song in grade 7 or 7 something. She picked my walk-up song pretty young. It's I Want You Back by the Jackson 5.
That's a good one.
I haven't changed it, and I like walking up to it, so it reminds me of her, and yeah.
Very cool. And finally, who is your baseball idol?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's been so many great players and good people to be around. I'm not sure I can just pick one.
There's a lot of good ones out there for sure. A couple more questions before we let you go. They're kind of standard here on the show of the athletes. When you're getting to chat with some of those young fans or those young athletes who are going to maybe one day follow in your footsteps, what's that one piece of advice or those words of wisdom that you'd like to impart upon them?
Live in the moment. Time moves by so fast, so enjoying kind of every step of the way, whether it's being with your teammates, being with your best friends, just soak it all up.
A great piece of advice, I think, regardless of baseball or just life in general. I love it. Final question for you here, Julianna. It's one we ask everybody. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Baseball means a lot to me. It's a place where I can just be myself and be present in the situation I'm in. It's a really special way, I think, to express myself and just find enjoyment in the little things.
We've really enjoyed having you on the show here, Julianna. Congrats on all the success you've had to this point, continued success in Quebec and with the women's national team and beyond. And again, thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now let's move on to the Summer Collegiate Circle now, and in particular, the Western Canadian Baseball League. It was Father's Day this past weekend, so a happy belated Father's Day to all the dads and father figures out there. Earlier this year, there was a really cool father-son moment on the field when Okotoks Dogs manager Lou Pote went to exchange lineup cards and speak with the umpire prior to a game against the Sylvan Lake Gulls. The thing is, it wasn't his counterpart, Jason Chatwood, who met with him at home plate. It was Pote's son, Gulls pitcher Owen. A special moment for both, and we had the chance to chat with the youngster who is an AHP Academy product about that, as well as his baseball journey.
Owen, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
I want to start with a picture I saw of you and your dad exchanging lineup cards and meeting with the ump prior to a game between Okotoks and Sylvan. What was that like, first off?
You know, it was a little weird. Like, this is my first year actually playing against my dad. I've played with him my entire life, and yeah, so it was really cool being able to go up there and being on the opposite sides of the field together, but still sharing the field. So it was really cool to be able to do that for sure.
I'm curious, what was said? Like, was there any trash talk or ribbing going on as you two were exchanging pleasantries?
No, not really. He just kind of was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" And I was like, "Hey," and he was like, "What are you doing up here?" And I was just explaining to him that Jason had asked me if I wanted to go to him, and I said, "Yeah, I thought it'd be pretty cool." So just kind of went up there, and then the umps did their thing, told us boundaries, the whole rules, and everything like that. So it was just a pretty normal plate meeting for the most part.
So take us back to when Chatwood actually comes to you and says, "I've got this idea." Did you know for a while at that point, or talk us through how it all kind of came to be?
Yeah, so it all started last year when Jason reached out and asked if I wanted to affiliate for the Gulls, and I said yeah, because I hadn't been asked by anybody else. So I was just like, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to do that. And then I didn't end up coming down and affiliating at all last year. And then he reached out at the beginning of the season this year and was like, "Hey, I have a full-time contract for you if you want to sign and play here." And it immediately hit me. I was like, "Man, I've played with my dad enough. And we've won enough together. I think it'd be pretty cool to play against him and try and beat him for once."
Mm-hmm. It was Father's Day over the weekend. What's your pops mean to you?
He's the biggest role model in my life. He's a very important person to me. I try to model myself as much as I can from him, and I just try and every time I step on the field, just go out there, make him proud, leave everything out there, because I know that's what he wants me to do. And I know he wants me to do what I want to do and be happy. So it's really nice to have that support with him in my corner at all times. So he's a huge deal to me for sure.
Absolutely. Now you have 3 starts with the Gulls this season, 2-0, an ERA of 3. How are you feeling about your performances to this point?
I'm feeling pretty good, confident. I like to just keep going out there doing my thing, attacking hitters, trying to get ahead, just do what I can to help this team win. I feel like we got a really good group of guys, and I think we're going to have a really good chance of winning this sucker this year.
You segued really well into my next set of questions. I mean, the team's obviously performing well in the early going here. What's the vibe in the clubhouse, first off, as that offense really feels like it's rolling and the pitching is really doing its thing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really tight-knit group. We're all really good friends off the field, but on the field, our chemistry is really just one biggest thing that keeps us together. I think that the offense has really been the biggest part of our game so far, but I think pitching is one of the most underrated things that we can do, and I think we're feeling really good, and we just want to keep playing the way we've been playing and keep rolling and winning games.
Obviously, the Gulls and Dogs have already built up that massive rivalry in the early going here. And I know you guys want to unseat them come playoff time. It's been sort of the monkey on the back the last couple of years. So in your eyes and in the team's eyes, what needs to happen in order for you to finally beat them come playoff time?
I think just sticking with our game, not trying to do too much. Obviously, those games mean a lot to us, mean a lot to both teams. So I think just trying to stay calm, relax, stay in the moment, play our game, sticking to that. I think that's just the biggest thing. I think if we go out there and do what we do day in and day out, I think we got a really good shot at beating them.
It's really interesting too. Even from the last 2 years to this year, there's been a bit of a turnover. There's a lot of familiar faces. Don't get me wrong, but there's also a few pieces that are new. How well are they knowledgeable, I guess, in that rivalry and in how big those games against Okotoks really are?
Yeah, I think for some of the new guys, they haven't really experienced it yet. But the guys who've been here for most of the season, they've got the taste. They know what it's like, and everybody knows what our goal is. And every time those guys come to town or we go to them, we know what we want to do. And yeah, that rivalry it's definitely turning up, and it's going to be a fun one for the rest of the season for sure.
Take us into the dugout during those games against Okotoks. What's it like being in the Gulls dugout? Is it pretty intense against the Dogs, or is it playful, tense? Walk us through what the vibe's like.
I think it's just not a baseball game. It doesn't really change from game to game. I think we're just doing the same stuff no matter what. But everybody, there's always that little that's always in the back of our minds that this is a big one. So everybody's high energy, trying to stay locked in, support the boys as much as possible, even if you're on the field, if you're not, just trying to keep the energy high and making sure everybody's doing their job.
How sweet would it be for you to get that one up on your Pops, beat them in the playoffs, and then win a WCBL championship?
That's the goal. That'd be the sweetest feeling I could get. So that's definitely what we're trying to achieve here in Sylvan.
Absolutely. Usually I start asking about origins in baseball, and your story is kind of obvious with Lou as your dad, but I'm curious, growing up in that house, did you feel any pressure from him to follow in his footsteps, or was he pretty open to you doing whatever it is that you wanted to pursue and love?
Yeah, he's always been a huge supporter of me. He's never really cared if I played baseball or not. He's just always wanted me to do what I wanted to do. And obviously, baseball has just been ingrained in my mind and my body, so it's something that I've always wanted to do, and he's someone I look up to, so I always wanted to follow in his footsteps. But he's never pressured me to play baseball. He's never been angry at me if I wanted to stop. He's just always been do what makes you happy and have fun with it, and make sure you're working hard in whatever you're doing.
Did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, I left baseball for a couple of years and played basketball full time, and then I played football during the off season of basketball 1 year in high school. But other than that, it's just been baseball, basketball, and football. So
whose poster did you have up on the wall?
Michael Jordan, definitely. I've idolized Jordan, especially my dad being from Chicago. That's our goat for sure. So Michael Jordan, I loved Buster Posey growing up, Jacob deGrom, Randy Johnson, those guys. I've always idolized some of the bigger names in basketball and baseball, but they're definitely some of my heroes for sure.
Absolutely. Did you ever feel inclined to follow Lou to Okotoks, or were you pretty content on sticking around the Sherwood Park area?
I kind of always just wanted to try and make a name for myself. I didn't always want to be that kid who's always going to be like the coach's kid. I've always wanted to be like a little bit of an individual myself, but I've never really. I've always thought I've always tried to do what's best for my career for sure. I've never tried to put on with my dad or trying to stay away. I've never tried to put that ahead of anything. I've always tried to just focus on my career and what's best for myself.
For sure. So you end up at AHP Academy, and I always ask this to the Academy guys, is what did that program mean to you, not just as a ball player, but as a human being as well?
Those guys are my family. I love those guys to death. That team is those guys are my brothers for life. That Academy, they've gotten me to the point where I am, and I I owe them everything.
You played in some big games, some big tournaments over your young career to this point. Any favorite memories or moments where you were at the park and you just had to kind of stand there and go, man, I can't believe I get to do this?
It was definitely the T12 this last year. Going to pitch on Rogers Center mound, that's definitely the highlight of my baseball career for sure. I remember standing in the bullpen before going out to pitch and just soaking it all in, kind of just taking a little 360, looking at everything and imagine and just being like, wow, I can't believe this is something I could get to do.
Very cool. Conversely, what's been maybe the biggest challenge or hurdle that you've had to overcome?
Kind of just, I don't know, just trying to stay focused and motivated to do everything that I can to be the best baseball player I can. It's just very long. Sometimes the season gets very long, but you just got to remember what your goals are and just stick to it and try and just go out there every single day and play as hard as you can.
You're committed to Barton. Why that program, and how excited are you to take that next step in your baseball journey?
I'm really excited. Barton's a really good JUCO in Kansas, and Coach Biggs is a great coach, and I'm really excited to go play for him and that team, that program. We're gonna be really competitive in that conference, and I really can't wait to get down there and start playing with the boys.
Well, and one guy that had a lot of success there is also an AHP guy, Reese Hemmerling. How cool was it to watch him do what he did down there?
Reese is a dog. I love watching him pitch. He's a great guy. He definitely had a big impact. When I was talking with schools, I asked Reese about Barton. He said the same stuff. He said it's a great school. He wishes it was a 4-year. He could stay there the whole time, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm extremely excited to go down there, play my game.
When you talk about Reese, I'm curious, what is it that sets him apart? I mean, he had some phenomenal outings out there. What was it that you saw or that you know of him that made him as good as he was this past spring?
I think his biggest quality is he's fearless. Like, he's not a guy who's going to blow 95 by you, but he's a guy who's going to spot up and he's going to challenge you every single pitch, and he pitches fearless every single outing, and he does what he needs to do on the mound.
Very cool. A few fun ones for you here, Owen. First off, what's your favorite ballpark food when you happen to be a fan in the stands?
Taco in a bag. I'm a sucker for a good taco in a bag.
Do you put salsa and sour cream in that taco in a bag?
I'm only a sour cream guy. I'm not a big salsa guy.
Fair enough. You get the reliever walk-in tune of your choice, like Mariano Rivera or Jordan Romano or Edwin Diaz. What tune are you rocking?
Seek and Destroy by Metallica has been my go-to.
That is a good one indeed. I'm a fan. I salute you. If you weren't playing baseball, what would you likely be pursuing?
Hopefully another sport. I'm always been a sporty guy, but I've always loved being an athlete, and I think either basketball, maybe football if I played it for longer, but I definitely think one of those two sports would be my other option.
Athlete's got an athlete, right? When you're chatting with those kids in Sylvan or maybe back at AHP and they're wondering how to get to where you're at now, what is that one piece of advice or those words of wisdom that you'd like to impart upon them?
I just think going out there and getting a little bit better every single day is the biggest part. You know, it's obviously it's hard to stay locked in the off season doing that stuff, but I think it's the biggest part. I think that sets everything apart, like how you get into the weight room and work out during the off season. I think that's a big part of how you can really step your game up. But I think just going out there, playing baseball and having fun is just the biggest part. Like, baseball's supposed to be a fun game. Like, you got to go out there and just have fun with it. But then competing, like, you got to play your hardest every single time you get out there. So I think those are the biggest things I would say.
For sure. And this is the final question we ask everyone here on the show. Owen, what does the game of baseball mean to you?
It's my life. I love it more than anything, and I can't wait. I just can't wait to play every game. It's my pride and joy, and it's my passion. I don't know.
Well, we look forward to seeing you on the diamond again in the not too distant future here, Owen. Congrats on all the success you've had at this point. Continued success in Sylvan, Barton, and beyond. And again, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
And finally, it's been an interesting season so far for the Lethbridge Bulls. They've had some high-scoring affairs like that infamous 57-run game against Brooks, and some low-scoring nail-biters as well. Catcher Noah McNeil has been in the middle of it all behind the plate for the Bulls, hitting .350 with a home run and 11 RBI in 12 games. The Ottawa native and Prairie Baseball Academy product is getting used to life out west and joined us earlier this week to chat about his journey, which included a family road trip.
Noah, thanks so mumuch for joining us here on the show.
Thank you.
I want to go back to earlier this month, first off, in that game against Brooks. The wind is blowing. You've got that short porch at Elks Field, 31-26 final. What was that like being a part of it all?
It was insane. That's a big word, I'll say. But it was a fun game, just going up at bat and just being like, if I hit the ball, it might go. So just get in there, put the bat on ball, and see what happens. But catching that game was, you don't even know what to call anymore. Guys are just swinging at everything, and balls are flying. But 31-26, outrageous score. But again, it was a fun game to offensively, but defensively, it was a bit of a wow. But yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you had a good day at the plate yourself, 4 for 7, 3 doubles, 3 RBI. When you go into a game like that and you notice the wind's blowing and it might carry, what's the approach at the plate, especially from not just a team perspective, but obviously from a personal perspective too?
I think what we just came in as a team was knowing when was blowing out, and it was just have a simple approach. Just nothing changes with wind or stadium or whatnot, but it was just go up, see ball, hit ball, and whatever happens, was the result. So I think we went in pretty chill with our approach and just swung it really well that day and put up 31 runs.
What's the vibe in the dugout like when all these runs are being scored and you can't really stop it offensively, but you also can't stop it defensively either?
I think in the dugout, we're all just, at one point, you got to laugh it off. It's just anything put up in the air might have a chance to go. So it's you just got to laugh it off almost. But as a team, we had a good time because it's look at this, stat booster type of game. But I think we just had to laugh it off and have fun and just play another game of ball.
On the flip side of that, it's good for the hitters, not so good for the pitchers. How bad do you feel for those guys?
I feel, it's a bit of a rude awakening for some of the new guys that just got in that day. It was hey guys, 31-26 game, but yeah, it's a bit of a, it hurts the stats for the defensive guys or pitchers that day, but it is what it is, I guess.
For sure. You're having yourself a pretty solid start to the season. As we record this, .350, a homer, 11 RBI in 12 games. How are you feeling about your performance so far?
I feel good. I try to play the game as simple as possible and let the game define the player I am, and just go up at bat clear-minded and see fastball and adjust to the off speed and just swing it, and results are results. Not a big, I don't really care about what happens. I just care about, I swung well, and the results are going to be the results.
For sure. Heading into the summer, did you have any goals or expectations of yourself?
I think the biggest goal I have right now is just growing as a player. I'm still a very young kid playing, so I think for me the biggest goal is just understanding the game a bit more to the next extra step, being a better ball player myself, and just growing as a mature personal guy too.
As a catcher, how do you sort of develop yourself, especially as you get to learn, I'll use the different personalities on the bump as an example and try to understand their nuances and some of their preferences and those kinds of things?
It's fun to catch new guys, understanding their sense of the game, understanding their off speed or what they like to throw, and especially going from high school to college, but then college to summer ball, it's a lot different in terms of pitching, where guys start to throw more comfortably on 0-2 counts or even 3-0 counts, throwing the curveball in. It's different, but just understanding their sense of the game and what they like to throw in different counts is very cool. And personally, as a catcher, setting up on different corners is a lot easier, because then I know they can be able to put it right there and not like struggle and diving, pad stacking everywhere for blocks. But it's fun.
Absolutely. When you look at this Bulls team, what are you seeing out of them so far? Give us your scouting report.
Great team. I think we got great hitting, great power from both lefties and righties on our team, especially 1 through 15. I think like all position guys. If we get all 15 guys in lineup, like everyone's gonna hit. So great hitting team defensively as well. We got great defensive players on the infield, outfield as well. Great speed. So I think overall, like, it's a great team, great hitting team as well, and we just got to keep doing what we're doing.
For sure. Looking ahead, what's key in your eyes to making sure this team does have that long championship style run?
I think for us it's going to be pitching. Like, we just got to keep throwing strikes, keep getting outs, and I think hitting, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. Every game we got a lot of outs. We're always putting the ball in play, and we just got to come up in some big situations, and pitching as well. Like, once we put up a 5 spot, our pitchers got to come up and be like, hey, we got to shut it down here and throw up a 0. So I think those two are going to be the biggest keys for us.
As a catcher in those situations, do you put a little bit more onus on yourself as well to be calling a crisper and crisper game each and every time you come out?
Yeah, I don't think for me calling a game will change on a matter of if we got to win or not. I think it's just going to stay the same with understanding the team's hitting, and I think finding the guys' weaknesses on their first at-bats or later on in the season, and just keep calling that game.
What's your favorite aspect of the preparation piece as a catcher? Is it video? Is it chatting with the pitchers? Is it working on different things? What is it that kind of lights your fire?
I think for me is talking with the pitchers, just pre-game, like talking with how they're feeling that day, and then after the bullpen, just see, okay, so we got this today, that didn't work so well, so do we take it out, do we not? And then just understanding, like, if they're comfortable throwing that off-speed pitch or that fastball in certain counts. So I think for me is just chatting with the pitching coach as well and with the pitchers, and just adjusting as the game goes on.
For sure. It's such a cool chess match in my eyes. Noah, let's get into your baseball past here a little bit. You're the product of Ottawa, Ontario. How did you get into the game in the first place?
I think, well, for me, since I was a kid, I played every sport growing up, like soccer, baseball, volleyball, hockey. And as I grew, I think it just narrowed down to baseball, and finally decided as me and my family, we went, I think baseball's a better path. And that's where it just grew.
Whose poster was on the wall in your bedroom?
I think I got mine there.
You moved out to Alberta in the last year or so to join Prairie Baseball Academy. What prompted you to make that move?
I think it was just growing up as a player. Just, again, I didn't want to go down to the States as a young guy and just non-mature in different ways. But I think PBA was going to help me grow as mature, but also on both sides of physically and mentally. And I think that's what we had to talk, and me and my family were just like, it'll be a better fit. It's a 2-year program, and you'll grow a lot as mentally and physically and personally. And so finally made that decision, and I came down.
You and I were talking about this off air. I want to get it on air as well. Let's talk about the trek. Usually when you go a few provinces over, it's, hey, hop on an airplane with a couple duffel bags and away you go. You kind of took the scenic route here, and you took some friends along. Talk us through the trip with the fam.
It was a long one. We decided as a family let's just travel to Canada. Let's see how it is. And I think it was a good trip, but again, you get to that second, third day, you get tired of the family, and it's like, I don't know, the jokes start not getting jokes, and you get tired of what they're talking about, and it's just over and over. But it was a great trip with the family, seeing all of Alberta and Saskatchewan and Manitoba and all those. So it was pretty cool.
Do you have any favorite spots along the trek where you're or maybe memories along the trek where you went, that was kind of a cool stop to go and see?
Definitely not Saskatchewan, because that was boring. But I think I have to go with Banff. That was a great, nice place to go visit, and just very natural. So it was really cool to see.
needless to say, you're not a big fan of going out for a Sasky road trip. We'll just leave it at that. When you think about your PBA experience to this point, what's that program meant to you as far as, especially in that early going, in your development as a ball player, but also as a human being?
I think, I don't know, it taught me a lot of life lessons, like showing up early all the time, and just growing like mentally and physically, as I said earlier. But a lot of what Todd Hubka taught me was just let the game define who you are. Like at the start of the year, I tried doing too much, and I tried like being the player that I wasn't. And me and Todd had that talk, and he's just let the game define who you are. So throughout the year, that's what I did, and it truly showed the ball player that I am. And just doing that like helped me grow up mentally, physically, and personally. So great moment for that.
Talk a little about being a youngster under Todd Hubka. What's that like from your perspective? I've known him for a while, so I love hearing some of the battleground stories for some of the guys that get to learn under him.
I think as a young guy, I don't think it really changed with how he worked on with me or with other players, but I think it's just a matter that he tried to push me a bit more as on the mature scale. Playing with like older guys, they've been through that path and all that sort of stuff, but I haven't. That was my first time going through that, so I think Hub spent a little more time pushing me on that mature level compared to other guys and all that little stuff.
Absolutely. Looking back on the young career to this point, I did a quick Google search before we talked, and it looks like you've had a few of these really cool memories over the years, but take us back to that one that really sticks out in your mind where you had to take that step back and go, man, I can't believe I get to do this.
I think for me was going to nationals, playing again for Team Ontario, and we made it to the finals against Team Alberta, and that moment right there stuck to me. It was just, I'm one win away to going to the World Series, and just sitting in that room with the team, you can feel the vibes of like the anxiousness, and everyone's like nervous and stuff, but that moment it was just like a wow opportunity, and then came up short, but just that moment with the team was a great moment.
Absolutely. Conversely, they always talk about baseball being the game of failure. And so when you look back on it, what's been that biggest challenge or hurdle that you've had to overcome?
Biggest hurdle, I think, for me was accepting failure. Just understanding errors, making errors as part of the game, and striking out as part of the game and stuff like that. And growing up I think I had a successful just striking out not as much and not making as many errors, but this year I think was just understanding that it's part of the game and moving on from it and telling yourself that, okay, I made this error, move on to the next one, I'm not making it again. Or next at bat, I'll swing earlier so I don't strike out. I think for me that was just the biggest growing up that I had to do this year.
A few fun ones for you here, Noah. First off, what's your walk-up tune?
Well, I think I got Who What by Travis Scott.
Very good one. If you weren't playing baseball, what career do you think you'd be pursuing?
Oh, boy. I think I'm very big into volleyball and hockey, so probably either or. Probably hockey.
You mentioned two-pad stack earlier. Were you a goalie by chance?
No, I just with PVA, me and Kendall Burns, the other catcher, we're in the back room catching bullpens, and at one point we were just having fun, and there's a blockable ball to my right-hand side, and I pad stack to block it, and ever since we've always made that joke. So
very fun. And when you're on the bus, what are you usually doing?
Oh, I'm a big sleeper. I take my pillow, I sleep, but when I wake up, I'll usually wander around, annoy a couple of the boys, and just sometimes play cards or whatnot, but very chatty when I wake up.
How nervous are you about the potential for any kind of shenanigans while you're napping?
Oh, boy, I get nervous. I don't know what the boys are up to, but I get nervous.
I can only imagine. A couple more for you here. You're back home in Ottawa, maybe here in Lethbridge, chatting with the young fans, and they want to know what it takes to get to where you're at now. Maybe they're starting out on their baseball journeys. What's that one piece of advice, those words of wisdom that you'd like to pass along to them?
I think the biggest thing I can tell them is just grind. Don't let the failures get to you. It's just understand that that's part of the game, and you got to grow. You got to grow to understand that, and I think failure is part of the game. So once you accept that, you'll be a good ball player.
Absolutely. And the final one we ask everybody here on the show, Noah, what does a game of baseball mean to you?
I think for me, it's just like it's as simple as I can say it. It's baseball. Just have fun, and it's just meeting new people at like all the time. Like I go from meeting guys at PBA, go and meet guys at with the Bulls, and then meeting other guys on the field, and just I don't know. It's a great environment to be around with the fans and all that. So I think for me, it's just making new friends and family. So that's the biggest thing for me.
Awesome stuff. Well, Noah, congrats on all the success you've had to this point. Continued success with Lethbridge, PBA, and beyond. And again, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Thanks so much.
Thanks again to Julianna Scott, Owen Pote, and Noah McNeil for joining us this week. And thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. If you like this or any other episode, make sure to leave us a rating and review on your podcast app. Those actions, of course, help spread the word about ADS. We'd also like to tip our caps to our Platinum supporters, the Okotoks Dogs and Under the Lights Sports and Entertainment, for all they do for us and for baseball in Alberta. Our supporters help us cover costs like travel and online subscription fees. If you'd like to become a sponsor, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.